Funky. Welcome to this week's edition of the Going OB Golf Podcast. I said I was going to go out and find guests who have an interesting story in the golf world, and I think I found one today. Jonah, how's things?
Things are good. Good. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, it's good to speak to you. So, we contacted each other through some various social media. You are the founder of Precision Pro, the rangefinder business, but you also have a bit of a backstory as well. So I'd like to try and dig into some of that. But before we get started, good weekend for American golf, eh?
Yeah, it was a good week. It kind of felt like a blowout.
Yep.
I have to be honest, I didn't watch the event. I watched the highlights. I'm kind of I'm a warm weather fan. I watch Ryder Cup, the Masters, and maybe the U.S. Open PGA Championship. But I got 3 kids, so my weekends are taken up with kids and sports, and I don't get the leisure of watching golf in real time. A lot of it is kind of simulcast nights, 9 p.m. to midnight.
Yeah, in between work and family and everything that everybody else is keeping up with. So, yeah, I'm with you. So the Ryder Cup's obviously the big one when it comes to team golf, and that is the proper rivalry. I did say last week, and I will stand by my comment, that the President's Cup seemed to me to be a bit of a good feeling story for the Americans because they don't have as good a record in the Ryder Cup, particularly in the last few years, whereas that's them on their 11th straight President's Cup. So is it a bit of a confidence boosting thing for the Americans that let's play the international team? We'll be able to see how our partnerships form. It was good that you had your captain there, Keegan Bradley, so he can see kind of what the dynamics would be within a team setup, because most of that team, I would assume, would be the team that he'll take to the Ryder Cup. But yeah, it was a bit of a blowout, and from a viewing spectacle, I think the internationals tried to make a bit of a game of it, but it's just the Americans are too strong.
So I guess the question is, will Keegan play in the Ryder Cup?
I think he will, but I think it'll be an ego thing for him. Now, I like Keegan Bradley. I want to say that right off the bat. And I watched the Netflix documentary, and I felt heart sorry for him when he wasn't picked. He had all the boys there, and then he was still cheering the Americans on afterwards. I think to prove a point, he will play, but I don't think it's the right choice to play.
I think you need to put the best players out there that are playing the best at that time. I mean, golf's such a streaky sport.
Yep.
Right? If they're playing well, put the best guys out there that can perform. Who cares who they are and what tour they play on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if Bryson's playing the best, or Koepka, bring him over. Let him play.
Yep.
Which I know is a new change that just came out a couple weeks ago. So, listen, I think it'd be a great story to tell. Netflix season 4. Keegan is the captain. He hits the winning putt. The U.S. wins the Ryder Cup, and it goes full circle.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Well, it's almost written in the stars that that's potentially the way it's going to go if he does pick himself to play. But I think from past watchings of Ryder Cups, they put so much into being the captain. I think being a playing captain would potentially take away from some of the build-up for him, and he maybe takes his eye off the ball and the Europeans sneak another one. Although we're not very good when we come over there. So, yeah, maybe from a selfish point of view, I want him to play.
Okay, so as a European, why do the Europeans play so well in the Ryder Cup but not on the President's Cup?
Well, we're not in the President's Cup, so it's internationals.
So it's international. Oh,
yes.
Okay,
it's
so
all
the different layers.
Yeah, so it's all the rest of them. So you've got your Australians, South Africans, Canadians, everybody else from that side, and then obviously the Ryder Cup's the European side of it.
So the European has a stronger.
Yes.
Set
They reckon
of team.
they reckon it's the bond of the Europeans is what carries us through. So, like Bob McIntyre, who went over and played in the States last year, he was speaking about it's very different. And the European ones, they all eat meat for dinner together. They've all got groups of pals that they hang about. When you go over to America, it's quite kind of singular, and you're on your own. So, I think it's just the camaraderie of the European tour and the team that gives us a bit more of an advantage. That and analytics. Analytics are apparently massive, and that's what won us the Ryder Cup last year. Molinari's analytics. So on analytics, then I am a bit of a gearhead and a gadget head. So when you reached out and said I have a product and I'd like to speak to you about it, rangefinders. Talk to me about rangefinders.
So I probably know more about a Class 1 rangefinder, which is our category, than I ever thought I would. So listen, rangefinders have been around for the last 20 some years. We've seen things really take off when kind of 2016-17, when the USGA changed the rules in terms of you can use a slope, but you're able to turn it off, and kind of that ruling. But we've been in business for 10 years. So 2014, we launched the business with the whole idea of let's make a good product at a great price and allow anybody that needs a rangefinder to afford one. So back in the day, it was Bushnell, Nikon, and Leopold that were kind of competing for the space. And their price points were high, $300, $400, $500 US. And there wasn't much competition sub $300. So that was kind of our whole mantra of how do we start a business, come to market, and see if we can make it successful. So we launched a $200 rangefinder back in 2014. The first 2 weeks we were in market, we sold out. We'd made more money in 2 weeks than we had in 6 months of our previous business. So we knew that was kind of the aha moment of we're doing something right. Let's, again, next steps. How do we make it better? And how do we progress and evolve and be a leader in this space? So that's kind of the quick backstory and how we kind of got started.
And it's just grown from there, yeah.
It's grown from there. We didn't bring on any outside capital. So it was all seed funding, kind of self-financed. So listen, the first 3 years are tough. Any inventory-rich business, doesn't matter what you're selling, you got to make a product for $1, you got to flip it and turn it and sell for $2 or $3. You got to invest in inventory, you have to manage that inventory. If you have a product that's not selling, well, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Because you don't have excess capital just to throw into something that's not generating revenue for you. And if you're not making money on it, you can't buy more inventory, you can't invest in marketing, you can't invest in new products. I'd say the first 12 months are the hardest. After that, the first 3 to 4 years are going to be the turning point of, can this be successful? Where if you're, a traditional, I'm teaching golf lessons, right? There's no inventory there, right? I'm charging $50 to $100 per hour. So it's a much different business. A lot of inventory heavy businesses don't always succeed because you make the wrong decisions on what you're going to make, what you're going to sell, your manufacturing, your inventory, and kind of managing that for the first kind of infancy of the business is very tough.
Yeah. And you've obviously got to take the gamble, haven't you? So as you're saying, you've got to make an outlay. You've identified that there is a market for, I'm going to say cheaper rangefinders, but certainly the quality of your product is not cheap. So you are offering a high quality product at a cheaper price than what your competitors are doing, but there's still an element of risk there that you're going to outlay, and you might then not recoup on those sales.
Yeah, it's especially when you place your first PO for $50,000 and it takes you 30 days to get that inventory. Well, what are you going to do? So when we got started, we placed the order. We were waiting for the order to ship. We just started cold calling customers on the West Coast. Your pro shop, your off course, your green grass, anybody we knew. Mm-hmm. And hey, we got a great product. It's $199 retail. It's $125 wholesale. How many do you want? And we sold out.
Yeah.
Because we had positioned ourselves as a value brand to launch, right? And so that's kind of the market we wanted to start in because we couldn't compete at the higher price point. We didn't have a good product back then that could be a $3 or $4 price point.
Yeah.
So this was kind of the MVP of let's make sure this makes sense. This works. We're doing everything right. We can fulfill the orders that we get in. So when we started, we were really B2B, right? Your pro shops, your golf courses. We then launched our kind of Amazon direct consumer channels. Went to the PGA show, started really growing. But it wasn't until probably 2017, 18, so probably 4 years after the business launched, that things really started to kind of grow through all our big box channels, your Dick's Sporting Goods, your Galaxy, your PG Superstore, Worldwide Golf, international customers. So that's across Europe, Australia, New Zealand. And then we also started making things that were unique and different, that were differentiating our products in the market.
Yeah.
Which we could demand higher prices. But the biggest turning point was COVID. So I remember when COVID hit, we had about $1 million in inventory sitting in our warehouses across the country in Amazon. It was May 19th. I got back from a trip, and basically the world shut down that next day. And we had all this inventory.
Yep.
And our partner and I talked and said, like, we're going to have to lay people off. We're going to have to shut down. Like, we're done. Like, you have all this money laid up in inventory. Well, the thing we didn't expect was that the only thing you could do here in the U.S. was play golf. And single store was closed. So the only place you could buy a golf product was on Amazon or our website. In the next 30 days, we sold through every single thing we had and made more money than we had in 6 months previously.
One of the only good luck stories or good work stories coming out of COVID. Everybody else's business is going under, so no, that's brilliant.
Yeah, again, it was luck. Like, if this was in November or September, we wouldn't have been in the same position. Our season here in the U.S. kicks off in April. So we didn't have all the inventory on hand in March, knowing that things are going to kick off around Masters. For retailers, for consumers, golf season really kicks off. So then we ran into the second issue of, we sold everything. Our factories are still closed. We can't get anything else in. So there's definitely a lag between, again, the COVID bump and then getting more inventory. But, I mean, COVID basically doubled our sales in the span of 12 months.
Crazy. So what did you do from there then? You've had to go out and get more inventory, or is this where a product development comes in, or what we're doing from there?
So typically we're in a 12 to 24 month product development. So right now, we finished our planning for 2025-26, and that planning was done about 6 months ago. We'll look mid 2025 and start thinking about what's going to come out in 2026 or 2027. Because once we do all of our planning, manufacturing, molding, testing, it's 12 months. So we really think long term. Here's the good part about our business. We're very SKU light. We have 5 SKUs that make up our business. So it's very easy to manage, where if you're talking about apparel brand or even a golf glove company, you have 5 SKUs with different colors, different sizes in both right and left-handed. You may have 50 SKUs. And you have to manage exactly how much inventory you need in each one of those SKUs. So we're kind of lucky in that we've kept things very, very streamlined. But our new stuff for 2025 is our new Titan series. So it's the new Titan Elite rangefinder, the Titan Slope rangefinder, metal shells, magnesium alloy, waterproof, slope, GPS, Bluetooth, some really cool features. That really kind of set us apart. And we're also going after more of the premium brand now. So we're going after that kind of $300 to $400 price point consumer, and really kind of creating us as a kind of top tier brand to compete with Bushnell at that higher level pricing.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you, I was never a rangefinder guy before. My golf handicap 18, right? So I've been playing for about 30 odd years. Started at 28 and I managed to get myself down to 18. So my golfer ability sometimes leaves a lot to be desired. But I'm mad keen, right? And I'll go and buy equipment and I try it, and then I'm like, oh, that's not the right one for me, so I swap it over and I try something else. So rangefinders to me were, no, this is for the better players that are taking on pins and are shooting for pins. As an 18 handicap, I should just be going for middles of greens and backs of greens. So I've used various apps, bits and pieces like that, but never ever a rangefinder. So when you reached out and said, I've got this product, would you consider having a chat about it? And you've been good enough to send me one through. It's this one here. It's the NX10 that I've got, and I've got the John Daly clip on.
Yeah, there you go.
These are really cool to be perfectly honest with you. The fact you can chop and change them as well, I really like. So I've tried it out the last couple of rounds. We're getting to the end of the kind of golf season in Scotland. I have tried it out. It's not just for a high handicap, a low handicap golfer now. It is making me think a bit more about what I'm doing off the tee by shooting to where trees are. And I played with one of my pals on Saturday, and we're at a course where we've got the luxury to just go up and have a bit of a practice. So Derek's relatively new to the game. He's just getting started. What we did was we worked out using the rangefinder what 100 yards were, and we worked our way back from there. How many shots can we get close from there? And then we were like, right, now we know this club is your 100-yard club. We then played a couple of the holes that I've got the dog legs, whereas before I would just be bang it off the tee, and that's in the middle of the fairway, and then I'll deal with what I've got. Have a look at whatever app or watch I'm using to find the front, middle, and the back, and we'll kind of go from there. But with the rangefinder, it did give me more distances to look at. So that front bunker the front of the green's 120, but that bunker's like a bit on the green, a bit at the back of it. So I need to find something that's going to get me over there to then land, potential for the runouts and stuff. So, I'm fully on board with the fact that it is not a low handicap, elite type thing to have. It helps everybody.
So I hear this a lot from people. I'm a mid, higher handicap. I'm not that good. Well, it's not about being good because we're all going to improve if we keep playing. It's about game management and understanding what the number is. You still got to hit the shot.
Yeah.
But you're trusting the number. Hey, it's 152 to the pin. It's 136 to the front. I know exactly where I want to land. And you can pick the club to hit that shot and you're confident with it. And I hear this from people all the time. Hey, I'm not too good. I use GPS. Well, here's the issue with GPS. GPS is accurate within 5 yards 80% of the time. So if the middle of the green is 145, all right, okay, well, that could be 145, that could be 140, that could be 150. For the average, for most golfers, that's 1 to 2 clubs based on the wind and elevation changes. So our whole thing is we want to make sure people have confidence in the number they shoot, whether it's a slope number or it's your actual yardage, so they can go and play golf and not think about it. If you get a flyer, that's on you, right? I'll give you the number.
Yeah,
you still
if you can't hit
shot.
that number, you can't hit that number. That's on you.
That's on you.
Yeah.
Now, okay, there's the first time you used a rangefinder. Did you compare it to an app or a GPS when you were playing?
Yeah, I have a GPS watch.
What was your kind of feedback, or what did you trust more? What was your feedback after using both side by side?
Right. So on one of the holes, I checked my watch and I was 135 to the middle of the green from where I was standing. I pinged it with a rangefinder and the flag was 131 and the front of the green was 120. So I hit my 8 iron, which I knew was not going to go too far back. It was a relatively big green. Was not going to go too far back. And I didn't catch it flush all the time, because that is the thing. You're saying you need to know your numbers. And I do know my numbers to a degree, but not bang on that I could say that is a whatever club. So I didn't quite catch the 8 fine, but I knew I wasn't going to have any issues to getting it to the back of the green. I wasn't going to fly it, but I could drop it at the front, and that's what happened. I kind of dropped at the front, rolled in, was about pin high, about 5 or 6 feet for the pin, and then missed the putt. But that is part of my game. That's what happens. As you're saying, you can give me the numbers, but you can't get from there. But yeah, very, very accurate from what I could see. An initial kind of me having a go of it. Yeah, I liked it. Gave me a bit more confidence.
So, I tell people, take GPS, whether it's a watch, it's an app. We have our own app we've developed, and a rangefinder, right? You get all the numbers. You know exactly what the distance is. You don't have to guess anything. I mean, I played in an event, the Live Golf event, and I got your yardage book. I mean, they are marking every single bunker, sand trap. The greens have the slopes on them. It's amazing, right? It's all the information the pros get that you see. But again, I think that for most, there's no one's ever say that's too much information for me. Yeah. Right? What is to the front, middle, back? What is to the pin, the slope? So I actually played with a caddy a couple months ago, and he only gave me the actual distance. He never gave me the slope adjusted distance. I said, well, what's the slope? He's like, it doesn't matter. I was like, yes, it does. Because I know what my club should be playing based on the actual and what the adjusted slope is based on wind. If you tell me it's 150 to the pin, but I know it's uphill 10 yards, like I need to know that. So we definitely did not see eye to eye on that. So I kind of started shooting the pin myself because for me, I want to know what the slope is because I'm pretty in tune. I'm a 5 to 6 handicap. I know how far I should hit each club. If I hit it right, I should be within 10, 15 feet of the pin or the target landing spot every time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's definitely the features to have. And that was the one I was looking at as well. So I'm still looking at a number that's maybe like 205, but then slopes 215. So I was going with the slope number, which is obviously the main one, eh?
Yeah. Now, here's one thing that people do. If you're playing a tournament, you can't use slope.
Yeah.
So what you can do is on practice rounds, you can go into you can play a practice round on slope, and the guys will mark what the slope adjustment is from different spots. Right? So from this yardage is 200, but you add 10 or take off 10. And a lot of guys will do that, especially, the amateurs that'll play, because in the tournament, they're not going to be able to see that number. But those numbers are pretty accurate based on what you're shooting from different pin locations on the course.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's good to know that you have had similar conversations with other kind of mid to high handicappers as well that have said the same thing. Like I said, I do like a bit of tech and a bit of gear and things. So when I have, I borrowed my brother-in-law's rangefinder one time when we were playing up in St Andrews. So I borrowed his rangefinder, and I think I only used it once because I was like, I don't quite know what I'm doing here. And it was a cheap 50 quid one he'd bought off of Amazon just to have. My hand shaking all over the place. At least the one that you've got was dead. Get it online with a pin, press it, you get the vibrate, it locks on, and the numbers are coming up solid. So really, really easy to use. That was what kind of put me off as well, because I'm like, I don't really want to be sitting here taking 4 or 5 minutes or however long it takes. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but taking some time to try and get a distance to a pin that I'm never going to be able to hit. Whereas at least I could go, right, that looks like this or this is what my watch is saying. Ding, that's what the exact number is by pinging it with a laser. Right, Craig, get the club and go. So that was the other thing I was worried about. Oh, I'm going to be held up, and then I'm not going to be my game's not going to be able to back up the equipment that I'm using. But that's just an issue I have.
So we'll talk about that. There have been a lot of inexpensive rangefinders that have come to the market, and they happened after COVID. So what's happening is a lot of Asian companies are seeing the opportunity on Amazon to launch products, and they don't care about quality. They don't care about building a brand. They just care about exporting as much as they can out of China into Amazon. And us consumers are going to buy the cheapest thing, right? Because that's what that's what we care about necessarily. So you get a lot of products out there that aren't great quality. But when I talk to people, I say, well, why did you buy it? Well, it's $50. If I lose it, I don't care. I'll buy another one. Versus spending 200, 300, 400. But one thing we've actually seen is that since we've launched our higher end price point products, they have a 3-year warranty, they're waterproof, great build. We're seeing a lot of people spend more money to buy up, right? So they'll buy the $400 product because of the features and the benefits and the build. But listen, I think anybody that buys a $50 rangefinder and sees value in it, their next one should be one that's a little more expensive, that's actually warranted, that they can trust. Because
Yep.
we did this survey once, and we asked people, would you rather take a wedge out of your bag or take the rangefinder out of your bag? 80% of people say they'd rather take the wedge out of their bag and keep the rangefinder. Because it's essentially like it should be your 14th club. Like,
Yeah.
You got to know your number.
Yep. And what you can hit. As I said, that's my issue at the moment, is I don't quite know what to hit. But it actually came at quite a good time, because I'm about to embark on some proper playing lessons. We will be shutting down for the winter quite soon. The weather's been horrendous here in Scotland just now, so we'll be shutting down for winter soon, and I'm going to get a proper winter programme. I'm going to learn to use the clubs I've got to hit them properly. I'm going to use the tech that I've now got to use that properly to try to make a serious dent in the handicap next year, because I do that every year. Oh, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that over the season, and over the close season, I don't do it. But I've now actually got access to people that can help me with that. I've got my new co-host coming on. She's a former Ladies European Tour player. I've spoken to one of the guys that's going to do some coaching with me, who's a young kind of up and coming pro over in Scotland. So we're going to do some lessons with him, using your technology as well, and the rangefinder you've given me. I'll be using that to know my numbers, and once I know my numbers, that will come into its own, I think. So seems to all be falling into place for Craig at the moment. We just have to get out there and start beating some balls and getting some numbers, and we'll take it from there. So that's my plan.
Every year I try to get 2 or 3 lessons and work on one thing. And then the second thing I did this past year was I got a SkyTrack launch monitor.
Right.
So I set that up in my attic above my garage and set up a net, hook it up to a TV, and I'll hit 30, 40, 50 balls 3 times a week. I'll do it even during the summer, right? It gets me just swinging and working on different things, draw, fade, low, high. Golf is such a feel game, right? When you're feeling it and things are rolling and you're swinging correctly, it's a fun game. But when you're not playing well and you're not swinging the club correctly, like, it's not a fun game to play.
No, it's a long, arduous journey when you're not when you don't do that, you're not scoring well as well. And it's like, I've still got 13 more holes of this torture to go. And it's supposed to be a pastime that we enjoy. I know it's business for you, but it's meant to be a pastime for me that I enjoy. So why I get myself so stressed and depressed and bummed out about it is, it's mental.
So when's the last time you played golf and didn't care what your score was?
That's a good question. I am still tied to trying to get my handicap down. I did a couple of weeks ago say that I wasn't going to be bound by a handicap and defined by a number, and I was just going to go and start playing. And then as soon as I turned up at the course the next couple of times, I was like, I'm going to have to put a score in here for my handicap because I feel it today, and we'll see what happens. And then it inevitably goes back up again. Although I'll tell you, the best times I have on the golf course is match play. Stroke play, I beat myself every time. Match play, I am a match for anybody. I reckon I could give anybody a game on match play. We go away on a boys' weekend once a year. There's normally 24 of us. It's like a 12v12 thing, the Tin Cup. So we go away for that, and that is straight up match play. 2-ball foursomes, singles on the Sunday. That's brilliant. I prefer looking in the eyes of somebody and being like, right, me and you, 18 holes, let's go. see what happens. I much prefer that to stroke play. And I've tried sometimes to take the mentality of match play into stroke play. So even if I'm playing with my pal, right, I'm putting in a score here, but I'm going to try and beat Derek and see what I can get, and then always fall by the wayside because I'm so defined by that number and that high handicap.
So some of the best golf I've ever played, didn't know what I was shooting. I would write my score down, but I didn't think about it. I just played.
Yeah.
So recently, it was about a month ago, I got invited to an event, and I didn't know I was going to play or not. 2 minutes before the tee off, guy didn't show up, and it was a play your own ball. Went out and shot even par in the front nine, but didn't even realize it until the guy I'm playing with said, "Do you know what you shot?" I'm like, "I have no idea." So listen, golf is 80% mental, 20% physical, right? If we're in our own heads, we're not going to play well. If we're thinking about different things, or we're thinking about the last shot, or how we doubled the last hole or hit it in the water, it's a negative, right, situation. I think the best I played it, I've just been free. I've played, I've hit the ball. I'm not worried about the score, right? The goal is keep the ball in play. Keep it. If I can eliminate the hazards, eliminate the three putts, hit it in the middle, I'm going to score well.
Yeah. There's definitely something in that. So I was in Florida in the summer, and I met up with my pal Eric, who was up from Denver. He was doing a bit of a Eric's World Tour of America, playing golf courses all over the place and whatever else. So he was doing he's a retired a disabled veteran. So he was doing a challenge where he was trying to play 100 holes in a day. So he'd managed to arrange for this golf course to let him come on. He was playing with the owner of the course, and they were going round. So myself, my father-in-law, we went up to kind of support him, and we went and played with him. Now, we were in the buggies. He had the speaker on, which I know you guys do a speaker, so we can quickly discuss that, because I definitely think that needs to be introduced in Europe. That is a very American thing that tends not to happen over here. But we had the tunes on. We were rapid round the course. I think we did the 18 in like 2 hours, or just under the 2 hours, and that was for like 3 or 4 of us playing. And that was key in the ground, hit the ball, jump in the buggy, move to the next one. So I wasn't thinking about what I was doing, but I think I was probably 6 or 7 over, maybe, for the like the 14, 15 holes that we joined in and played, which was good for me. And that was just because put the ball down, whack it, jump in the car, we're listening to Luke Combs or somebody as we're trundling up to my ball, back out, do the same thing again. So you're right. I think zoning out and focusing on something that's not the last shot you've just hit or the next shot you're going to have to hit definitely frees you up to go and play some good golf.
Yeah. So talk about music. We do not sell our speakers in Europe, and it's because people don't. Music is not the thing in a lot of our European markets.
Yeah.
Right. It's a big thing here in the U.S. and Canada. But I'll walk or I'll ride. I'll bring my speaker. Right. Yeah. I love listening to music. I'm not going crazy with it. I'm not obnoxious. It's for me and not for the group next to me.
Yeah.
But I went to my first live event 2 weeks ago in Dallas.
Yep.
I've never been to one. Have you been to one?
No. I was trying to go to the one in London this year, but I never made it.
So people have feelings about live and how it came to be and paying your players, which, okay, that's fine. Outside of that, they run a good event.
Yep.
The food was reasonably priced. They had food trucks. They had a great kids area. They had lots to do, even if you weren't super into golf. The music brought everything together. There was music on every tee box, on every green. And it was, I would consider it house music, but it was really well done.
Yeah.
But when you have music, it just frees up everything, right? It's just like it's a fun environment to be around. People are more relaxed. Like, they're asking you to be quiet. Well, there's music blaring in the background. What the hell do you want me to do? Like,
yeah.
So I would say anybody can go to a live event, go to it. You may not, again, love what they're doing, but it's just a fun event to be at. You could see all the guys, all the players are relaxed. I was on the tee box. I was the first hole, I was watching Brooks Koepka. And all the players talk about music. He got up to the tee box, the music went silent. And as he took his backswing, they turned it on and it was loud. Hit a beautiful shot down the middle and just smiled, walked off. It's a different vibe than you would see at a PGA event or any of the current kind of LPGA events that they're currently hosting. So
yeah, I think what I've noticed from we do come to the States quite a bit, so I have played quite a bit of golf out in the States, and it's just a different atmosphere. Like courses over here, there is a stuffy, traditional, this isn't the way golf should be played type vibe in a lot of these courses. So yeah, if you had Oasis blasting over the fairways while you're trying to hit a ball or somebody's putting, it's just not the done thing. Whereas I think it's largely accepted over where you guys are. Like I said, we played that event with them. There was 3 different guys in 3 different carts, and everybody had their own music, either off their phones or a wee speaker or whatever else, blasting it. It just kind of made it a bit more.
Oh,
You all right?
I got
You're good.
over a cough.
Oh,
All right, sorry.
yeah, that's okay. That's okay. So yeah, as I was saying, it was just it's a more relaxed vibe over there, and you can do those type of things. I'm fortunate enough. The club I'm at, it's a privately owned club. There's a very small membership as well. So we do sometimes go out. Somebody puts some music on the phone, and you just kind of go and swing a club, which is ultimately what golf should be, particularly for non-pros like myself. It's just the way it should be. It's meant to be a fun pastime.
If you're not having fun, why do it?
Exactly.
I think that's, the mantra for life, right? If you don't like your job, why are you doing it? You're doing it to get paid, but you're only going to do it for so long. Music makes everything better. That's my belief, right? I don't like the quiet. I'm at home, I'm in the car, hey, I go to baseball practice with my kids. I turn music on.
Yeah.
I think it's something that's going to change the kind of perception of golf. Now you talk about stuck up. We have some stuck up golf courses here in the U.S. Right. There are some you can't use your phone on the course. You have to take your hat off when you go certain places. No women in the club. There are some places that I'll play because they're nice. The place down the street from me, near my office, it's 2 miles away. I can wear a t-shirt, wear shorts. I could walk in sandals if I wanted.
Yeah.
And they do not care. Right?
Yeah.
As long as you paces play is good, you're not destroying the course,
yeah, they're good.
You pay them, they're good. And then that's what makes golf fun.
Yeah, I think as well. That's what tends to drive a lot of people away from it. Is this whole perception of, it's a bit stuffy. There's so many rules. I'm not going to be able to just go on and particularly people starting out, going on and trying to learn. You're never going to get them over that threshold of getting them on if they've got all these rules and regulations. The game's hard enough with the rules and regulations of what you're allowed to do, whereas you're going to really shout at someone and complain about them because they've got a bit of music on that's not being horribly loud and trying to put off the whole place. It's not a concert you're having in your buggy or as you're walking up there. It's just a bit of music to relax you, get rid of the silence. Because I think sometimes the more silence you get inside your own head, don't you? So your head starts stressing about it. Whereas, as I said, if you're just walking down and a bit more relaxed, then it's a good vibe. But I'm surprised that it hasn't taken off over here. And you've obviously done done the research. Otherwise, you wouldn't have. You would have been selling them over in this neck of the woods. But yeah, I think it's something that needs to be brought over.
Well, I think, I mean, the other thing is majority of the courses you're walking, right? You're not riding.
Yeah.
Where here, I would say 80% of courses you're riding. So you have the opportunity to have the speaker and the music. Yeah. So I go to the PGA show every year for work, and there's definitely, you could see different companies and the manufacturers and which ones are a little buttoned up and kind of wearing the suit jackets and the ties, versus the ones that are wearing the loud prints and the bold kind of boosts. Cobra, for example. Cobra is a great example, right? They go loud, they go bold, they go different. They had a DJ at one of their trade shows with an ice luge and a pair of shoes, like in an ice box. Right? When you walk over to Titleist, they're whites, jackets, ties, like very buttoned up. Everything's locked up. You can't touch it. It's like the pristine, premium kind of vibe. So you have golfers on both sides of it. I think with the younger golfers these days, it's going to trend more to the younger, louder lifestyle, music, fun vibe and environment. That's my hope.
Yeah.
So I'm
I
kind
think,
of
I think it is, and I think I thought I obviously had a bit of a look at your brand on the before we were going to speak, and you seem to be ambassador wise getting all the right type of people. So obviously you're tied with good. You were four players well, aren't you? You do stuff with him.
Yep.
I think I seen Eric Anders Lang have something, and then John Daly as well. So you don't get more up for a party and having some fun on the course than John Daly.
Daly's been a fun one. Great personality, great ambassador. So we started with kind of the content creators back in 2017 with Eric Anders Lang, who runs Random Golf Club, and with No Lane Up. Those are our first two. Great partnerships, and they've kind of grown with us as we've grown with them. We replaced Eric Anders Lang with Good. So Good hits a much younger demographic at kind of 12 to 30. No Lane Up's a really nice kind of 30 and up demographic with kind of their content, their podcast, and the videos they do. Barstool Sports, we started working with this year on some podcasts and some videos and content. And then John Daly was brought on 2 years ago. He actually reached out to us because he liked what we were doing. And we decided to do some custom rangefinders for him and his son for the PNC and kind of expand the relationship. But if you talk about the everyday good old boy golfer, he is who he is. He's true to himself. You may not agree with a lot of his political stances, but that's not like, it doesn't matter, right? We're golfing. He'll go out and drink a case of beer and play golf barefoot and have fun. I think he has more fun when he's not playing in events, because I think he just enjoys being out there and meeting people and playing and having a good time.
Yeah. He's been one of my favourites for years. In fact, he's in my ultimate 4-ball. I pick him every time. So there's me, my dad, Tiger, because you can't leave him out, and John Daly's my fourth. And if I can't get Tiger, it's one of the local football guys from over here, or soccer guys from over here, Ali McCoist. I don't expect you to know who he is, but he would be my other ultimate 4-ball if I could get them.
So I got the chance to ride with him and Kid Rock.
Oh, that would be something.
At an event for a couple holes. I wasn't playing. I was there kind of supporting one of his charities. It was an experience. I mean, Kid Rock is not the best golfer in the world, but he's having a good time. Daly had just come out of knee surgery, and probably should have been playing. He wasn't ready for it yet, but it was a party. They had about 10 cases of alcohol over the course of 18 holes. Every other hole, there was a shot girl or a shot alcohol purveyor. providing lubrication for the course. But it was definitely a fun event. Yeah, so that was your 4.
Yep.
I would pick, I'd pick Bryson.
Mm-hmm.
I pick Daly. Now I know they did a video together, which is awesome, but I'd pick those 2. And then I would go with, I think Bubba would be fun.
Yeah.
Bubba Watson.
Yep.
So, listen, here's my story on Tiger. I think Tiger changed the whole game of golf, right? I was at an event 2018. I was on the driving range with a couple kids. You're talking 12 people at most. And the round was over, and there was this 8-year-old kid asking for an autograph for Tiger. And there's nobody around, right? He walks by, doesn't even look at the kid, no recognition, keeps on walking. And I had a 2-year-old at the time. And I really said to myself, like, you're done with your round. At least you could say, hey, like, give the guy a high five, give the guy a ball. Like, you don't have to give him an autograph, but at least acknowledge he's out there to see you. Like, you're the number one face of golf. And that really turned me off after that situation. Because I know how I would feel if an 8-year-old's asking an autograph from me.
Yeah.
Right? As a mediocre golfer.
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
We got to pay it forward.
You could say if he was like in game mode and he's about to go out and he's been caught on the hoof, but if he's kind of finished and it's winding down and just disappearing, then that's a bit off from Mr. Woods. But I just think you can't not have him in a 4. Well, you didn't, but you can't not have him in a 4-ball just because of who he is. How many people get to say played around with Tiger? Very, very, very few. Whether he would talk to you or not as you go around would be a different story. Because I reckon he would probably be super focused. I know another one I would have Phil Mickelson as well. If we were going down the kind of live one, although I don't think I'd have enough money to sustain a game with Phil if you listen to some of the stories about him.
Well, so at the live event, it was Phil, it was Sergio, and it was Bryson playing in a group.
Oh, brilliant!
It was pretty cool to watch. I walked about 3 or 4 holes. So no, listen, I think go back to the whole lift thing, right? I don't know what the perception is over the pond, but over here was Phil said some things he probably shouldn't have, but he was right 90% of the time.
Yeah.
And I think kind of blackballed him for the rest of his career with the PGA because of it. But listen, sometimes the truth hurts and people don't want to hear it, but he was right on a lot of things he said.
Yeah, so, I was quite on the fence with it, to be honest with you. So, as I said, I've got my 2 pals I did a previous podcast with. One of them was an ex-PGA pro, and the other one is kind of like a social media influencer type guy. So, Logan was very staunch on the PGA Tour and these guys going away to live, and it wasn't the right thing to do. And Eric was we're trying to grow the game. You want a new audience. Why can't you have music? Why can't you have another one? And I flitted between both. Sometimes I was like, well, yeah, I like watching the PGA, so they've stolen all these players and there's all this background as to how Liv's got to where it is and whatever else. But I still watched it. And there was times where I watched Liv on a Sunday on the last round rather than watching the PGA on a Sunday's last round, just because it was that bit more exciting. I personally think they need to lean more into the team aspect. I think the individual part, and it gets a bit complicated. He's won this event, but the team's won it. And even when they do the podiums at the end, the team prize seems to be the bigger one to win than the individual event. So I think if they leaned more into the team aspect of it, then that becomes their USP, and then they are trying to grow the game and not a direct competition, if you like, from the PGA. But I like it. I do think it's different. As you say, the music, sometimes it can be a bit distracting. You're trying to watch somebody make a putt and you can just barely hear the background music of someone, and I could see why some people might get annoyed about it. John Ram getting annoyed about drones flying over his head when he's trying to hit tee shots and things, but that's just Rambo, eh? He's that type of fiery Spanish character, and if there's something he's not happy about, he's going to moan about it.
I will not watch a live event on TV. I don't think they've mastered how to show that type of event. I like the team atmosphere of it because everything we do, right, in sports is team, right? Outside of golf and tennis, like in college, right? It's a team game. In high school, it's a team game. I like that aspect of it. The TGL, right? That's going to be a team game. Right? We'll see how that takes off this year. I think in person, I would go to a live event over a PGA event any day of the week. I can't watch a live event on TV. I could watch one on PGA. Necessarily don't want to. I do like how they do the shotgun start because of the timing of it. The issue is that the courses they're playing, I have no idea what courses they play. We don't know those courses as golfers, right? Where we know Augusta or Chambers Bay or TPC, like we know those courses because they've been around. We've seen them every single year. So there's some things they'll fix, but an in-person experience, live is definitely a preference. But then there's certain people in the country that will never be able to go see one.
Yeah.
Because of where they're at and the limited events they have. So I'm hoping
it's not going away. And I think the PGA need live more than live need the PGA. You know, with this whole agreement that they're going to be having. And I think the PGA wildly underestimated the reach and what they were going to be able to do and who they were going to get. And then when names started going, they panicked and they're now like, right, we need to try and do something, and that's why we're going to try and get like the biggest loss for the PGA is the Shambo, I think, because in Tiger going off into the sunset and not being as big a draw as he was, Bryson's come out as this man of the people type guy. I've watched him on YouTube. His YouTube channel's really good. He's got such a good personality. He's the one I think you miss watching on a Sunday night when he's in contention. And when he does the live ones, because it's only on kind of YouTube or on the app, you're not really seeing him as much. So when he does pop up on like the British Open and he pops up on the US and stuff, you're like, oh, I forgot Bryson was there and was playing quite good golf. Because you've not seen him for a while.
No, John Rahm said this. I mean, you are not relevant except 4 times a year when you're on lit, right?
Yeah.
The Masters, the majors. So here's the thing. I don't think Bryson would be the person he is today if he didn't move to live. So when he moved to live, he started doing the YouTube stuff. I don't know if he would have done that if he stayed on the PGA. So he became more of a everyday kind of personality that we can connect with. So PGA owns your media rights.
Yeah.
Would they have prevented you from, would have gone out and done this on his own and built this if it wasn't for moving to live? I don't know. I think, again, the YouTube, the content, the Instagram stuff, doesn't matter what sport you're in. I think that is going to help connect you with your fans. So it's, I would love to see a PGA event with music, a Ryder Cup PGA event versus live players with music at Augusta.
Yeah.
That's my wish list right there.
That's your wish list. Yep. I was about to ask you what crazy things on your bucket list, but that's potentially could be one of them if you came up with that event. That would be that would be. I don't think Augusta would never go for it. Nope.
PGA would never go for it. But so my bucket list, my top 3 bucket list. So Bandon Dunes is number 1. My partner and my team was out there twice I couldn't go out because one, COVID, and number two, I got hurt. So my partner's gone out to Band Dunes twice already. I've never gone. So that's number one on my bucket list. Number two, St. Andrews. I got to play there. Number three is Augusta.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I'm St Andrews, Augusta, probably Pebble would be my three, I think. I played Bay Hill last year, 2 years ago, when we were over, so that was a great experience getting to play Bay Hill. But yeah, there'd be my other ones. But yeah, even living in Scotland all my life, still never played the Old Course. It's just a very difficult course to get on.
yep,
They
I've
used to
heard
have
that.
this thing where you had to go at stupid o'clock in the morning and sit outside and wait for your slot. And then you maybe didn't get picked. Then you can go on a ballot and you don't get picked. So it's not an easy pay X amount of money and turn up and play. It's a difficult one. But it's really weird because you can just go up and walk about it. You take your dog for a walk and
Yep.
walk about the course and stand on the Swilcan Bridge and get your picture taken. Yet to try and hit a golf ball, you're having to give like your left leg to get a game on there.
Do they have people walking the course, security?
No, I think it's just kind of they'll know who's all out, and majority of people take caddies, so it kind of self polices.
Got it. Okay.
But yeah, I think it's just one of these unwritten rules as well, is that you don't go on the course with a club or it's part of the traditions. Part of the traditions.
No, I think now the one that I did play, I played Torrey
Mm-hmm.
in 2018. The course was amazing in terms of the visuals. It was a very boring course in terms of the architecture, but playing
Right, okay.
on the beach, right over the cliffs was amazing. But it's a very boring back and forth course. Not much elevation changes. But that was one. But I try to. So one thing I do is I keep a scorecard of every new course I play. Just so I can again physically remember it, but also have a record of kind of where I played at. And I'm lucky again. We're in the industry. We get to play a lot of really cool courses, all over the country. So that's the benefit for being in this golf industry, is that we support a lot of the PGA events and PGA members.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's reciprocated.
it is. So that's the good part. Outside of just again, I'm in golf. I get to do this. I've been doing this for 10 years. I love every single day. I love the team I work with. All our partners. I mean, at the end of the day, we could not be successful if we couldn't make a great product and have great customers.
Yeah.
That's what really kind of drives me every day. My 9-year-old asks, what do I do? Right? Because all I talk about is rangefinders.
Yeah.
I sell rangefinders. But no, listen, you're building a relationship with courses and players, and we all can play better golf. Right? I mean, that's the goal.
Yep.
That one day golf, it's gonna be a perfect game. We're gonna remember it for the rest of our lives, and
that's the one that keeps you coming back.
There you go.
Yeah,
the one
that's what
last
keeps you
good
coming
shot
back.
you had.
Yeah. So you touched on very quickly there. You've obviously been in the industry for 10 years, but this isn't your first business, is it? You said at the start, maybe before we started recording, that you got in at 28. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but just a quick rundown of some of the other stuff that you're involved with.
Yeah, so I was working for a company right out of school, and I said I'm going to start my own business before I turn 30. So I was 29. I quit my job and opened up an internet marketing company, basically going in consulting with other companies on digital marketing. So this was back in 2008, 9, 10. That is when internet marketing was really kind of taken off. So I had the luxury to be in a digital marketing firm for 9 years, learn it, and then I went out and kind of started consulting with people. So it was a service-oriented business. Working with all different types of clients, the small mom and pop resort to big companies like Jamba Juice, Luna Bar, some CPG companies. Bundled that with launching my own kind of e-commerce website. So So we were running kind of e-commerce deals and for kind of the green industry. So let's say, think about Amazon, but for clean products, healthy products. So we did that for 5 years. And then this is kind of the third, kind of the next step. And it was a very random, I got into golf completely random. I met my business partner at a bar. We just started playing golf. He was an ex-PGA pro and didn't want to be in the industry anymore because of the hours. And he said, pay sucks unless you're a head pro. So we kind of put this plan together how to start a golf company. So we started out with training aids. It morphed into rangefinders, and that's kind of been the roadmap of where we've kind of taken it. So we do rangefinder speakers. We have a GPS app. We do smart products. So we want to do what this category really well and do it better than anybody else. And we're not going to branch out and do things that don't kind of support the golf technology side. So we're saying
still a long way to go with that, and it changes all the time. So I suppose it's just keeping ahead of the curve in the competition really as to how far you can go with it.
Yeah. I guess we reinvent ourselves every 3 to 5 years as a business, right? So we've done our second iteration. What's the next 3 to 5 years going to look like? But we want to stay very focused on the technology side, bringing something to the market that we would use golfers, right? Mm-hmm. Myself, my partner, my team. Like, the biggest thing is that everybody on our team plays golf. You could be a 1 handicap, you could be a 20 handicap, but making sure that if we bring a product to market, it's something we believe in.
Yeah.
We would buy it as consumers. We want to support it and provide customer service like we were the ones buying the product.
Yeah.
And hopefully that translates into kind of the feedback from our consumers and people that use our products.
Yep. Good. Well, it's been really good to speak to you. Where can people buy the product? So I know you managed to get me one shipped from Europe. Where's the best place to buy the products?
Yeah, so in Europe we have some distributors over in the Netherlands, Sweden. We have someone in Slovakia, in Italy and France. So the European market is a little bit tougher because it is so segmented, especially with Brexit. In the US, our website, precisionprogolf.com, Amazon, we have all the big box retailers. So you're talking about Worldwide Golf, Dick's, Galaxy, PG Superstore. But if you're in a certain market in Europe and you want our product, you send us an email. We'll connect you with the right person to buy that product from.
Cool. And you obviously do direct to consumer as well. So any listeners can go on, buy on the website, drop you an email, let you know where they are, and you can make that happen. Yeah.
Yep. So we actually don't ship across. We don't cross-border ship. We're not going to ship from the U.S. to Europe. It's not worth our time or the duties you have to pay. So we try to say everything within market. Mm-hmm. So we ship direct in the U.S. and Canada, but every other market we have a partner that does our shipping, does our fulfillment. So if you go on our website, precisionprogolf.com, you send us an email, we'll connect you with the right person in every market, whether it's in Europe, Australia, New Zealand, South America.
Perfect. Well, Jonah, it was really good to speak to you, and you're more than welcome to come back on again if you have any other products that you're about to launch, or if you decide that, yes, the UK does need speakers, by all means get back in touch with me, and we can see what we can do from this side. But it was really good to speak to you, and I appreciate you taking the time. I know we had a date set up before, and there was family things, so that got put back a wee bit, but I do appreciate you working with me. So, and I will keep you posted on how this handicap goes, and hopefully it'll start plummeting. And if that happens because I know my numbers, then I'll keep you updated.
I will say don't worry about the handicap so much. If you're playing good golf, your handicap will go down.
Yeah.
Okay, last question for you. Do you track fairways and greens in regulation?
Yes, I have. My watch does that tracking for me. So I use a product called ShotScope as well, which has the tracking tags in the tops of the clubs, and I use the watch from there. So I do track that. I've had an interview with one of the guys from ShotScope, and they explained to me how to use it a bit better. So that is the plan as well, is to try and use some of that stats going forward.
Do you know how many fairways and greens you need to hit to shoot 85?
No.
On average.
What do I think I need to hit? Or do I know for definite? What was the question? What do I think, or what do I know?
Well, what do you think you need to shoot, or what do you know? How many fairways and greens you need to hit on average during a round to shoot mid-80s?
To shoot mid-80s, I'm going probably 50-50 if we were looking at percentages. I reckon I need to be hitting 50% fairways and 50% greens.
Yeah, I bet you if you did that, you'd shoot anywhere from 80 to 85.
Yeah.
So
it's the sub 80s I can't get. I've done it once in my illustrious career. I've broken 80, and that was 2 months ago. But then the next game round I went out, I shot a 94. So that just shows you.
So I did this with one of my coaches where I looked at what the stats are if I want to be a single-digit handicap. I used to be a 15, and every year I got down and down. I'm probably the lowest I've ever been at 4 or 5. I know if I hit at least 50% fairways, 50% green to regulation, and everything stays in play, I will shoot anywhere from 78 to 82 consistently. And I'll track my stats, and I'll do it on my scorecard, and I'll look at it every single day that I play golf. I also know I want to have 31 putts. So those are the 3 metrics I look at, and if I know that I did that, I'm going to shoot a score that I am going to be happy with.
Yeah, one that's going to contribute to the handicap.
There you go.
Yep.
But yeah,
I'll keep you posted.
I'm less about handicap, more about how I'm playing.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's the thing. Sometimes I'll stand over a ball and I'm like, I don't know where this is going. So, honestly, we could do a whole other podcast on what goes on between my ears when I'm trying to play golf. It's just, madness. I could write a book, as my old gran would have said. You could write a book, but yeah, that's a conversation for another day. But I will definitely keep you posted. And as I said, you're more than welcome to come back on again. Any stories you've got, or like I said, any product launches or stuff that you're looking to do, then give me a shout. All right.
Awesome. All right, sir. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Good to speak to you, Jonah. Cheers.
All right. Have a great one.
Cheers.
Thank you, sir. Bye.